Hey guys, Christian here. It's another week, and this vlog is going to be covering a lot of different things that I talk about. And starting off with, I completely rearranged my office slash rooms, and it's because I have a lot of books that have been taking up half of my desk space, and so I wanted to change that, and so I pulled them all off and stuck them over there by the edge of the room. All right? Okay. So I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. All right, so did all that, and then had more books coming in, and that was important. I did okay, so I got a couple new ones. All right, okay. And then at the same time, over here, we got a few more. We got, I'm reading Walden right now, and this particular translation of the Bible. And then, of course, I'm halfway through Washington, okay? So, why does that matter to you, right? Okay, that's a good question. Give me a minute. All right, I've harped on this before, and I'm going to keep doing so. It's really important. I was reading today and finishing up the major prophets, and then Daniel, and then going into Hosea. And you come across a lot of the same stuff when you're reading through the Bible again and again and again, but you come across it in different light, or maybe this particular time you see something you didn't see before. It's just, every time I read it, I learn more, right? So that's true for everybody. But what I wanted to share with you today was talking about, his people perished for a lack of knowledge. And it's not that the knowledge wasn't available, it's that at the time, the people, they rejected it. That's what the Bible tells us, okay? So, and I want you to think about that in the current time that we're in, because during this time in the Word, what we saw was a falling away of the church, right? And if you read the stories, you see that the prophets came out and was telling them, you're doing it wrong, you've mixed the truth with fiction, turned the truth into a lie. You set up false gods, all this other stuff they were doing. And in our society today, we see a lot of that, but it starts with the church. The church is where it always starts with. So when your ways are pleasing to God, He causes even your enemies to be at peace with you. We don't see that in America today, and we don't see that in many places today, because your ways are not pleasing to God, right? And in fact, in many cases, I've been to many churches and sit there and listen to Bible study or sermon or whatever, and I'll hear the preacher say something that's absolutely false, and no one bats an eye. No one even knows that what the guy had just said is not true and not even close, okay? And I can go on and give you all kinds of examples. I'll give you one. There's a current teaching out there that the grace messages might be referred to. Basically, you can't sin. Once you're saved, nothing you do is going to ever change that. Not true. It doesn't line up with the totality of Scripture at all. And it's not even a new concept. It was pushed in the New Testament as well. And then there was scriptures written about that false logic. John said, do not be deceived, little children. Those who do right are righteous, right? So it does matter, okay? We can go on and on and teach about that and show the fallacy of that logic, but it's just one area that I'm seeing this, and I've seen it in many different places. So I want to point out to you that when you see the church in that condition, it is simply they've gone to sleep. They've stopped reading from the Word, right? They've rejected knowledge, okay? And because they've done that, then the devil can come in and give them something that sounds similar to what God said, and then they follow that, and it takes them a little further away, and a little further away. And so I want to encourage you that if you are not in your Word every single day, shame on you, and change that. Make a change in your life, right? The Bible tells you that you are supposed to be renewing your mind. Well, the more you read, the stronger you're going to become, right? I've talked about this before in the shield of faith, right? It's really important. The sword, right? The sword of the Spirit. All these things are benefited by spending time in the Word, okay? And that, of course, benefits you. Now, we're going to get to some other stuff here, but I just want to cover that right quick and point out to you that something that God's doing to me, and therefore it's something that God's going to do to the church. He's increased my understanding, my knowledge, and He's going to do the same to the church. So expect, if you're not already being called to start changing your lifestyle in that particular way, expect it will happen. And I'd like you to like this video if you are already taking those steps. If you haven't, then start and like the video, or if you are, thank you very much for doing your part to revive the church, okay? Because each of us is part of the church, right? Christ is a picture of all of us, the corporate church, right? So anyway, talked about that, and it's really important, but there's something else I want to talk about. I uploaded a video a couple of weeks ago, and it was a video of a dream that I had, and I didn't have the interpretation of that dream. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. But as of late, it's been like this massive amount of, let me sit down. It's been this massive amount of dreams that I've had, like especially this last week. It's just an amazing amount of dreams, and I'm not able to capture enough of it to remember it enough. You know, it's only a piece that come when I wake up. I only have a piece of it, and oftentimes I can't gather anything from it. It's just too odd. The pieces are just scattered. I can't do anything with it. So I uploaded that video talking about that dream that I'd had, and I told you at the time I didn't know what the interpretation was, and I still don't, except that I asked you if you had any insight to it, share it with me, and I got multiple comments back on that video, and it was very helpful for me. I'd like to thank everybody who shared what God had showed to them about the dream with me. I appreciate that. It was all very enlightening, and I enjoyed that. But again, I'm still having dreams this week, and I'm not getting anything. So it's like I'm kind of like at this wall, you know. And so I've basically been thinking, all right, how do I break through that wall? And looking at possibly doing some fasting and that kind of thing. Well, as I was doing that, kind of thinking of the past few days and whatnot, I ran across in this, put the bookmark where it goes. All right, in the book of Daniel. I shared it today on Facebook. If you follow us on Facebook, I share a verse every single day that I just run across in my own daily reading. And I shared that verse today. And it was an interesting verse in that it's the only place in the Bible that reminds me of a dream that I had. Remember the dream where, I'll link it below, but there was a dream where I go back to get my guns, and my uncle, he hands me a gun that's an amalgamation of two guns. And anyway, in this dream, if you watched it or you're familiar with it, the devil shows up face to face, and we're warring, right? We're fighting, struggling, and he's resisting me. I can't go forward. He can't go forward, but I can't either. You know, we're stuck there, and we tumble twice. And in that, I'm wondering, where in the Bible do I see a picture of this? And the only place I could think of at the time that I was thinking of it, even now the only place I think of it, is the place in the book of Daniel, right? Where it says that, I'll read it to you right quick. In this particular translation, it says, but the angel prince, right? But the angel prince of the kingdom of Persia resisted me for 21 days. And then, seeing that I had held out there, okay, now that's important. Seeing that I had held out there, okay, he persevered, right? And that was a very important thing. That's a particular translation that I'm reading. It words it like that. And most of the time, it's not worded that way. It's worded like, after 21 days, I was remaining, something like that. But in this particular case, it's making it more clear that it's a perseverance, right? And in that dream, you see that I do that. I don't run away from the devil one day. I stand my ground, right? And there's a point where the devil is placed in front of me, and I stand there, and the word tells us, resist the devil, and he will flee from you, right? So you see that, where the devil actually flees away from you, right? So anyway, in all of this story of Daniel, you see that he has trouble understanding something, and he fasts. And so when I read across that again, I thought, okay, that's enough for me. I need to actually test this to see if it's a word from God, whether or not he's telling me to fast. And then if I'm hearing that, which I am, then I need to do that. And so I want to share it with you that I will be fasting this week. My particular fast, Daniel's fast, he says he didn't not eat anything. He just didn't eat any choice meat and drink wine. But my particular fast, I'm going to be cutting out watching television. Something I've done before, and it's quite helpful for me. I typically have this habit where I will get lunch or dinner or whatever, and I'll stand and watch television while I'm doing that. Throughout the rest of the day, I'm reading or studying or something like that. But that's when I spend a lot of time in front of the television. So I will be cutting that out for the week, and to try to get a clearer understanding of what I'm dealing with here and what I'm struggling with. One of the dreams I got just a piece of last week was I was in a room, and Kim Clement was in there. He was he was teaching, and there's some other people in there. And I asked in the dream, does anybody here, or something like that, does anybody here start fasting before you really know what you're fasting for? And I threw my hand up, and at the same time, everybody else threw their hand up too, saying that yes, they had done that. That's only part of that little piece of that dream that I recall, but I had some other ones as well. I won't go into them today with you. It's just getting pretty long and rambly, but I just want to share that with you, that I encourage you to press forward and be remaining. Okay, do not give up. Persevere through it, because though the enemy was trying to stop you from it, he cannot stop you unless you give up and walk away, because God has already said this will be. Okay, and so very, very important. God bless. Take care, and I will see you in the next one.